Okay, so hey guys, welcome back to another session of reviews, focus, and analysis of the forex chart and also forex trading and also the forex pairs. My name is Arnold Anuro and this is JSMFX. So welcome, sit back and let's begin. Start off with the Euro USD. So from the daily, actually from the weekly, let's check on something. We must ask ourselves, why is the price buying? Okay, why is the price buying? And you can see that from this high, price really shot to the downside very massively. So yet again, later on we had this range and then price came down, I think, to take some few liquidity areas, and then now it has gone up. So what I'm anticipating, I think that's the right word to use, is that price would be coming to this POI up here, and expecting maybe some reversals from there. For now, what I'll be also looking at or paying attention to is this POI here, because we had a slight pullback there. So let me just change this to weekly. I think it will come to the right color. Let me try and place that bright. Okay, like that. So it is in this pullback that maybe I'll be expecting price to come to, or maybe if it does breach it, then we'll be looking at change of character and possibly some few moves to the downside, or rather the reversal. Daily, what are we seeing on the daily? Well, daily also it has hit that weekly POI above here, and as you can see, price came down to this POI, though it didn't touch it, but it kind of mitigated some few sell to buy ranges around there, and then short to the upside. For me, I'm expecting this move to continue maybe to the downside. Let me just go back to the weekly so we can see where the range of that pullback is. Let's place it visible to days. Sorry, that's 4 hour, that's 15 minutes. Let's place it to 1 day, like that. So that's where I'll be expecting my pullback to come to before maybe continue to the upside. For now, I think I'll move my change of character line to this low. Let me just drag it to here, to that low, and expect some few moves maybe to there. If it does breach it or disrespects it, then we'll be looking for some, few areas of change of character and also possible reversal times. So let's go to 4 hour now. I think that's 15. So let's go to 4 hour first so you can see what we are facing. So 4 hour, also we are on an uptrend still. My anticipation now is that I want us to focus on something here. Now, from this pullback, after this low, we saw price, creating highs up to there, and then price came down, and then it started creating some lows. As you can see, started creating some lows. So possibly this structure of going to the lower side could be starting. And with this one, it could just be pulled back, to induce some few sell side liquidity areas before maybe taking them out. Now, if that does happen, coming in next week, because this week we had lots of news, especially on Wednesday and Thursday, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday. So maybe after those news, we might see that this month, going to the second week, we might be seeing some few areas of the lows being created like that, and possibly also to maybe reacting to some few demands around there, and also come and reach to this demand, because this was the last demand before this break off the high of the last high of the 4 hour. So that's where I'm expecting maybe my price to come to, and then maybe from there we could be seeing some possible moves to the upside, or maybe want to come deeper to this side and then mitigate it and continue to the upside, because if you check very closely, we are still on an uptrend on the 4 hours. So that will also be another area to look for reversals, and after they mitigate some few areas of demand, that this one or that one, then maybe we'll look for other setups to go to the downs, to the upside. But that will also happen maybe a few weeks later, but it's just an overall kind of anticipation and bias according to me. So what I'll do is I'll mark off this supply, this area of supply here, and expect maybe a price to touch it before continuing to the downside. And also the way it has built this high and this high, maybe it might come and touch them right there and then continue to the downside. So another supply also, just to help us confirm that the order flow is actually active and supplies are in control, is that one. So also there I'll be expecting maybe price not really to reach there, but here, and then continue to the downside. So that's my anticipation. On 15 minutes is where things are getting more interesting. Let's start off from that side where we were looking at 4 hour. We can see price respected well all those areas of supply. So we had a change of character here, but we didn't have the pullback to the extremes. So price just touched the sell to buy range around here. Okay, this whole range in between the pullback to the downside, and then broke it and then reacted in that pullback. It reacted from that pullback and then went to the upside. So coming in on the upside, you can see very well that we had a touch on this supply area. Okay, and then we had a change of character there. Price did return, but not to the extreme, just like here. But as you can see, also price just came down and also caused a break of structure. So coming in again onto the upside, by the way, this is a trade that I would have actually, I took this trade, but my stop loss was very low, was very close. And as you can see from this week, price touched my stop loss and then it went to the upside. So that was one loss that I had during this week. So price reacted to that supply, came down again to somewhat some kind of demand and then went to the upside. So coming in again, remember this change of character where price returned after that change of character, but it didn't touch the supply. So price actually touched the supply later on. I think this was the next day, and then came down, tested it again, that supply now the next one, and also the same one as this one, and then now went to the downside. So this one I think was the NFP, if I'm not wrong, on Thursday. They did it day before the holiday so that they can close up the week, and yeah, look forward to the next week's coming on Monday. So price reacted to that supply after the NFP sell to the downside and breaking structure. So what I'm now anticipating is that this pullback, the way it was respecting all this demand, it was just to induce people to buy and continue buying, and then also to have the supply mitigated. So as you can see also, we didn't have a change of character around here, but price danced around there with those supplies and then tried to break this trend line and then maybe give us the signal of going to the downside. So I had this trade on also, but another problem is, which actually is the main problem I really need to look at by myself personally, whereby price came down. Okay, it was at least a happy moment, expecting for price to continue buying, but something was telling me maybe these were highs that were going to be um, targeted. So when price went to the upside, my stop loss were actually above here, because when I saw price going lower, I also lowered my stop loss straight next to the entry, just closer to the entry point. So that's when I realized, no, you know what, let me just let the trade run and yeah, see what happens. So price came in, took me out on this high on my stop loss and also this high. So from there, I think now I placed another trade. Okay, same side. I think I placed it around here, the same level, same price point, and then now I'm expecting price to at least maybe come and react from this point and create more liquidity to the sell side, and then have enough from all these laws and also these laws and also all those others. So from there now is when I'll be expecting price to continue to downside. So that's my anticipation for Euro USD coming in next week. So I think if you look at the at the whole structure, we can also see that we are in a downtrend. Okay, so because now with this all pullback after this NFP sell, we see that the pullback is above the premium area. So, and also it has not really touched the 4 POI, so I'm expecting also for it to go at least higher before maybe seeing some many possible moves to the downside. So that will just be all for Euro USD. Let's now check on GU and see on what the rest of the pairs have in store. Okay, so GBP USD, starting off also from the weekly. Check from the weekly. You can see also we have some few areas of supply around here that I'm expecting also for price to come and touch, and possibly see some few reaction from there before maybe looking for any ideas of selling. Another thing is we have this area of demand here that has just been touched, so I won't want to concentrate on all these demands down here because I think this will just take a long time before we come there. So what I'll only do is just mark them brighter like that and expect maybe some few reactions from there. So what I'll do is I will move my chalk line to that low and expect maybe price, if price does come and breaches it, then I'll be looking for change of characters and possibly some few areas of like this, few areas of supply there, and then maybe continue to the down and mitigate some few areas of demand here that we could have, they could have left before maybe continue to the upside. So yeah, that's the weekly for now. Let me just mark off this one and see where we are when we get into the daily. So daily, okay, I think we'll just leave it at that because we can see very well that it's just the same side as the weekly. So yes, so daily, what are we seeing? I think this was the weekly. I don't know if I have the weekly chalk. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have the weekly chalk, so let me just mark this one off real quick. I think that was it. Okay, so from the daily we see that price created a high here and then came down, so formed a chalk, okay, where the chalk was broken and price is trying to get back to this supply before it continues to the downside. So that's one confluence that I feel price will want to sell more, just like Euro USD. And also I put in this range, the sell to buy range in box, as you can see, just to show myself that we have come to that point and look for any possibilities if we are going to go under or lower. So for me, I don't know about the lower time frames. We'll just look at that in 1 minute, but I feel overall for this one I will expect something like this, okay, and then come to the downside, or maybe it has started from there and then now it's shooting to the downside and continue dumping. So that's one thing I'll be checking on coming in next week. 4 hour, same thing as Euro USD. Also, it's pulling back after all those change of characters and all those drama that happened here. One thing I'm keeping in mind, apart from the structure between this low and this high, we can see that price, I don't think if price touched the 50%, yes, it did touch, but it does not come lower. So excuse me, I'll be expecting price to at least come lower to the discount area before maybe looking for possibilities to continue to the upside. Another thing also is before this change of character, we had these exchanging wicks, as you can see. So this one in the lower time frame is also some major pullbacks where maybe I'll be expecting price to also come, touch, excuse me, and then continue to the downside. What else? I also see that we have change of character right here, because as you can see, this high breached all these other highs. So between this pullback and this high, we can see that price came and breached that low, so created another change of character. And what did that change of character do? It pulled back price to somehow the supply area, like that. Okay, let's just put it as POI of a 4 hour. So you can see price did touch it there, and then we could now be anticipating more sales, or dumping to continue to the downside. And also, I'm not forgetting this this supply, that maybe price could come to that point and then look for any possibilities from there, and maybe continue to the downside also. So those are the kind of conferences that I'm looking at on GBP USD on 4 hour, and also this demand that I'll also be expecting at least price to come to before it continues to the down upside. 15 minutes. What are we seeing in the 15 minutes? Let's first start with this change of character that we saw. Yeah, we can see all this now is just a structure that has given us clear picture that we could be pulling back, doing some few pullbacks before we continue to the downside, because all that is just a downtrend. Okay, so another thing is the change of character on the 4 hour. We can see also we've had a change of character on the 15 minutes, same time. Just before the 4 hour, we can see also we had that one. But what is difficult for me to look at this keenly is we have some few demands, supplies, especially this one, that I'll be expecting price to push it lower, okay, to the downside. Just a second. So I'll mark that off, and mark that on, and also this supply, and expect maybe price to come and touch those areas before continuing to the downside. Also, this demand right here, price could be coming there before it goes to the upside, and maybe possibly continue to the downside. Not to forget, during this NFP, I think this was on Thursday, during this NFP, price was looking to touch this extreme after this change of character, but it didn't do that. So also this is another area where price could be targeting before maybe continuing to the upside, or maybe breaking that low and continuing with the trend. So that's the conference, or rather the analysis that I have on GBP USD. Let's now go to USD CHF before we go to the yen. Okay, so USD CHF, starting off from the weekly. I think this whole POI that you see here, this I think is the monthly, so we really not go there. Let's just concentrate on what we have right now. And excuse me, this structure that's just been broken is the daily, is my daily. But because we're in the weekly, we just want to see what we are facing. Number one, what can we say? We have a high that turned into a low. I don't know if that will draw. Okay, yeah, turn. Okay, sorry for that. So the high was turned to a low, and then caused a change of character with there, and then came down, then came up, came down again to actually cause a change of character, came up with this pullback to create more liquidity, and then took them out. So right now in this low, I feel with this huge wick, we could be facing some few possible pullbacks, maybe to this supply before continuing to the downside. Or if it wants, it might also take out this high, and then if it does that, if it does just that, then we'll be looking for any areas of demand here before thinking of buying maybe to those areas of supply around here that was left around March this year. So one thing I'll do is I'll mark off this, mark on this supply right there, and then put it on weekly POI. That will put it brighter. Okay, so what do we have on the daily after that supply being drawn? I think let me just go back to the weekly. I think I've not set up this weekly um so POIs to be visible on the daily. So we just put that there and then save it on the template like that, so that you can show everyone in all the charts. Okay, so refresh, then we go to the daily. So as you can see now, for me, I'm expecting at least that break of structure. You can see the green one. We can see that price pushed it again lower to this daily POI. Okay, so with this daily POI, I feel that we are now reacting only on this demand before maybe continuing to the upside, and I'll be looking for price to at least get to here, which is our daily supply before the break of that low, and also the taking of the liquidity officially with the candle close below. So that's where we're expecting at least price to go to. So from here, maybe we could see some few or slight pullbacks before maybe continue to the downside with this supply. So that's my anticipation. On the 4 hour, also, I've not gotten that 4 hour low, but you can see where my high is, and you can see how actually this triangle, do you see how this triangle actually played in twice? It played it here, and it also played out here. Okay, so if you didn't see that, I think some few weeks before, then that's what happened. So this triangle actually happened twice, and yeah, that also for anyone that sold from there, then you really took some few heavy profits from that move to the downside. So I don't have any change of character here, but price has given me some few bullish kind of moves. So we have that high and the low and the next high. So this could be a potential low just to create, to react to this demand before continuing to the upside. So that's my anticipation on the 4 hour to continue from there, and jump in to come to that supply area above before maybe considering going to the downside coming in next week. 4 hour, I'd love also to explain some few trades that I took. Starting off with which one? With this one. So let me just try and explain about my structure before we get things clearly drawn or visible. So that. Okay, so we have price coming in down like that, and then we also have, try and zoom in right here, and then we also have this change of character. As you can see from here, we see that change of character pushed the price up and then it came down. Price went up to react to that supply and then came down to react to this demand, and then we continued to the upside like that. We only created that high to react to that supply. So you see how when price is pulling back, it's pulling back to the previous POIs or order blocks that were left unmitigated. Okay, so this one was also unmitigated, so they mitigated it and then went to the upside. So here again we see we have this demand that price reacted from and then went up like that. So when price now came to this point, I noticed that we had this high being taken, and so I took this first trade. Okay, I took this first. I think I explained this last week, if I'm not wrong. So I took in this first trade, and then it went well, but I took in heavy partials around here, and then yeah, moved my price below my entry point, so I was trailing it. So after trailing, price came and took me out and also took that highs out. And then this trade, I was anticipating for price to go lower than this low that was left, but I didn't take this trade because after these profits I felt maybe it's just enough for this one, and see where price will want to go after this trade. So I think with this trade, I didn't want to actually involve myself that much, so I just let it run. But as you can see, it really played out very well. It touched the TP there. So if I had this trade, would have been a second one, and then price came down like that, but also caused a change of character with this supply to the upside. We didn't see this we didn't see the return to that structure again. But what we are seeing right now is we have an eyeballs to the upside. So you see, we were playing between this high and this low, and then price shot to the upside. I think this was sorry, not FTMO, NFP. So price went to the upside after playing around that supply. Okay, price was shot to the upside and then mitigated. Okay, mitigated those areas of supply in the 4 hour and also the 15 minute. So after that, now we can see that price range around here and then came down like that and then mitigated finally this demand, which wasn't enough because they felt we have more lows down here, and also that low is resonating with the 4 hour brown POI, as you can see. So from that low, now we had a change of character around here. Okay, and then price went up. Price ranged again inside this supply before it came down. As you can see, also this is another triangle. I hope it's visible enough for you to see. This was another triangle built here with this pullback. I normally love these structures, by the way, because with these structures, they always, especially after the breakout and then the return to maybe the demand, as of this example, we see that price did range because of the New York or US holiday, but it still shot up. So this is a signal that price still wants to go to the upside. So we never know, maybe price would want to just come and take out all these lows that were built here with this liquidity before maybe continue with the actual move to the upside, and then continue to the downside, or maybe breaking down that recent boss or internal boss to the upside, and yeah, continue with the trend to the upside, because I feel unless they want to go deeper inside this POI of the 4 hour, I feel they might push from here and then continue to the upside. What I'm actually anticipating is next week, coming in on Monday, I have a very strong feeling that price would open with a gap. Yeah, price would open with a gap. I'm not that much of an advisor, but that's just the experience that I've had, especially when you have these holidays where they fall in the day before the weekend or the market close for the week. We see that normally most of the time on Mondays, price just opens with a gap and then continues or maybe retraces back to fill that gap before it continues to the upside. So that's my anticipation on USD CHF. Let's look at GJ and then we close up with gold. Okay, so GJ, interesting pair. What is interesting to me is that we do have this low that I feel could be touched before maybe price continues to the upside. But I'm also thinking that with this pullback and the break to the upside, we could be reacting to this one and then continue to the upside. So such a conundrum for me, very difficult to actually say the bias or talk about it. But what is an assurity for me, my overall bias is just I'm expecting for price to come to here to this supply. So I don't know about you guys, but that's where I'm expecting price to come to. What is now confusing is we've had this change of character here and price has returned to the supply, and right now it's reacting. It's reacting to this demand. So also we could be seeing that this change of character was just a fake break to the downside and inducing more people to sell before maybe continue to the upside. Also with this supply, sorry, this demand, we see that it was touched with that wick or that candle, and then price shot it up to that supply when after the change of character had happened. So yeah, for me, I think I'll wait for that law. Sorry, I'll wait for this law to be taken or rather to be breached before I continue looking for sales and maybe come and mitigate this area of demand. So that's what I'm expecting. But for now, if okay, let's say this is what I'm thinking. If it does breach this low, then we'll be looking for sales. If it does breach this high coming in next week, okay, this bullish candle, if it does breach this high to the upside with a candle close, then I'll be looking for something like this. Let's say it goes up, okay, breaches that high, be looking for areas of demand here and then continue to the upside. If it does breach this low, this one, then I'll be looking for areas of supply and then continue to the downside. So anything can happen, but I'm really, if you ask me to vote, I'm really overall on the bias of the buys, and yeah, looking for opportunities to the upside. So that's what I'm anticipating on the GJ on the daily. 4 hour. Now 4 hour is tricky because as you can see, we've had that high breaking this low. Okay, so giving us the idea of continuing to the downside, but we still had another high broken. So that means now price could be telling us I'm changing direction and I just want to go up. Okay, so if I'm going to concentrate on the buys from the 4 hour, then this demand would be very ideal to look for buys, this one here, and then continue to the upside. Yes, we don't have any change of character, so we don't have any proof to say that we are going to continue to the downside even after this low being breached right there. So what I can say is if it does get breached, then we'll be looking to take out these lows and continue to the downside just to mitigate this area of demand before continuing to the upside. So that's just what I'm thinking about. And yeah, I don't have much to say with this pair, but I'll just leave it at that and let's see what it will hold or give us coming in next week. 15 minutes. It was actually an interesting pair because I took some advantage of some few moves. So let's try and look into that real quick before we finish up with our last pair. So if you check very closely, we had this first one, like I told you in my last video, where I had some several stops before price continue to the downside. So yeah, you see, because of all these sessions that I'm doing, I'm not actually doing to give you, some few insights on what to look at next week, but I'm also revising. I'm also looking back and doing some little bit of back testing just to see where I went wrong and also what I need to do right coming in next week as I prepare. So I have this one. Let me just mark it like that. And then put it at 15-minute POI. So you see, yes, I had my early entry here, but looked like that was flip zone. Okay, so price danced around and then actually wanted to just come and touch that POI above, which was the extreme before the change of character, and then went to the downside. So I would have kept I would have kept that in mind, but I didn't want to look at it several times because after those few stops, I think I had two stops. I think, with this week and also with this week, thinking that price would go up. But I feel what I have been doing wrong is placing my stops so low. Okay, so I think coming in next week, I'll be considering the next high. Okay, the next high and put my stop above there, because if I say I'm risking whatever I'm risking and expecting price to come and take me continue to my direction only for it to come and take me out, it's because it's coming to take me out because my stop loss is close enough for it to be taken out. So I think that's a lesson learned for me. I would have taken this trade right here. Okay, and if I was targeting my 3R just as usual, that would be around, say, there. Okay, so it would have been a very decent trade, and I think this would have been a trade caught in minutes, and yeah, the profits would have been in the bag. But we are here to learn. We are here to learn, and that is just one lesson that I'll keep in mind. So continuing the analysis. we have the continuation of the downtrend. So we see this low pulling back, not related to the above the Q of that previous structure, but we see that high taking out this low and then continue to the downside. So when price came in here again, like I said, when price came in here, I took another sell, but my stop loss was again very low, just above this high. And then as you can see, price actually came down, came up, went up to take me out, and then came down to my direction. So that's another, let down, but yeah, we just soldier on and move on. So we had a change of character here, and then also another flips on, relatives flips on, I can say. And then we had another range around here. And then from there, now I took this trade, okay, to the downside, okay. And then I think I had some heavy partials here before continuing with the trend, because I felt that maybe this demand would hold and continue the price, continue pushing price to the upside. So after this return, and then we had reaction from this demand, I realized, you know what, maybe this low is being targeted. So that's when I came and drew my liquidity line there, whereby price induced more. Just ignore this move that I just made. Price induced more sellers, sorry, more buyers to the upside, and that's when I took this other trade. And at this point, I want to be honest with you, I was very pissed. I was very pissed. My emotions were up on the ceiling, like, okay, you know what, maybe this DJ is not working for me. So when price came to here, somebody told me, you know what, Arnold, just have your entry there, but give your loss, your stop loss a little bit of a buffer. And actually, this one played out very well because it came in during the New York Open. Okay, so I was like targeting my trade to actually come and hit this demand and maybe continue to the upside. But yeah, as you can see, price came and breached all the way below this low and then continue to the downside. So that was one confirmation to tell me that I should not fear. Okay, that I should not fear, and I should also look into what is happening, and yeah, just be very keen and careful. So I think now we went up from that point with this high coming up to this low, and then creating another high only for this low to come and react to this demand, and again reacting to the next demand. Then I think this was NFP now. This was NFP that shot price to the upside to now target those highs that we had on our last trades, but they were actually out at that point. So yeah, so price came came up, and yeah, took that high of the 15-minute, and then now we came down like that up to here. Now from this point onwards, it's a bit of a difficult thing for me to say, because I have this high creating this low, and then we had a change of character by this high being created and breaching this high. So when price came up like that, it was coming up to some kind of supplies around here, but on the 5 minutes there was unmitigated supply, which now price has been pushed to the downside. So I feel price just wants to come down to here and then continue to the upside before, just to target, maybe possibly to target all this buy side liquidity before maybe continue to the downside and mitigate that demand that they left down there. So anything can happen in the forex trading, and also that is just my anticipation, and I can only advise that you take your time and let the price come to your points, or rather to your POIs, before maybe making that move. So let's finish up with gold and call it a weekend. Yes, so last but not least, GOLD. What are we seeing? From my perspective, this is my structure from that low, so playing between that high and that low. Price has yes fairly pulled back to below the 50 percent. It's the equilibrium of the fib, so maybe we could be seeing some few moves to the upside. What is only confusing is we had this change of character, excuse me, building that high, and then price came down, tested that demand, then went up to create another high, tested this demand, created another high, then this demand was tested, but it was broken. Okay, so it tested like that, but it was broken, this one here. So you see how my line is actually forming some kind of structure. So between this high and this low, we see prices ranging in between those structures. Okay, so anything can happen in between here. Okay, and maybe push price to the upside or maybe come to the downside. So number one, it can push to the upside because people are seeing all these structures being, you know, aligning, and also with this double top, double bottom, people are also seeing that yes, we could be pushing price with that structure and going to the upside. For me, I feel all this is just inducement, and I'm expecting or anticipating, I will be anticipating that price will maybe come down here because we had somewhat a change of character before going to the upside, and price didn't actually return to that extreme. So yes, price would maybe not do that, but for me, I feel that this is just inducement, and all this is just a pullback to induce more buyers before coming and take them out, and creating that low to the downside, and maybe continue to the upside from this demand that you're seeing down here. So that's just my bias or analysis on daily. 4 hour, 4 hour also in that kind of range. Now 4 hour is a bit clear because if you see this low was broken, okay, this low was broken, and this pullback right here has just been breached. So we have, after the break of that low, we have this pullback, and then price came down to mitigate that demand that we saw on the daily. And then this now is the daily demand, the green one, that I'll be expecting price to come and bounce in before maybe continue to the upside. So we have a change of character being formed here, which had the price coming back to that range, the sell to buy, then went to the upside. So price now is just playing around that area. We did come and take out these liquidities and then pull back. So this pullback, we're really not sure if this pullback will react to this supply and then continue to the downside, or maybe just wants to continue from that point and continue, and yeah, continue push price to the upside. For me, I feel we are still pushing price to the downside, maybe to this demand, maybe to that demand, or maybe to the ones lower down there, because all this is a downtrend according to what we are seeing right now. So just one last confluence that I'd love to look at is the fib. We see that price, yes, has pulled back to the premium side, so maybe it might leave this POI just for inducement sake. So when price comes down from there and touches this demand, people will be thinking, yeah, we are selling, but they don't know they would not know, maybe they're actually mitigating this demand and then going to the upside to now continue the trend, or maybe mitigate also that supply. So that's my analysis on 4 hour. Let's look at 15 minutes together with some few trades that we caught. I think where do I start off from? Monday. So this was Tuesday. I wasn't around on Monday. Yes, I wasn't around on Monday, but I drew this high. I felt it was deep enough, so I drew this high once it was breached, and I left price to continue with its trend to the upside. So when it got to here, as you can see, just to draw on that real quick. No, okay, let me just align it well and get to the explaining. Okay, so had a pullback, high, chalk, return, then price started to sell off, sold off to this demand right here, and then came up to somewhat the supply, came down deeper to that demand, and then shot to the upside. So we didn't have any change of character until later, breaching this supply, then price came down to this demand again, and then short to the upside. So we had a slight pullback just to mitigate some few demand areas here, and then went all the way to the upside to now break the structure. So now we're having this kind of notion where maybe we could be facing or starting an uptrend. So pullback, high, change of character. We had another break here from that demand, and then continued with the low to that demand again. Remember this demand, and then we came to the supply. I think there was a change of character here. Yeah, right around here with this candle. Yeah, with this candle here. And then price came down to that this demand, and then short to the upside. So again, price came down like that, reacted from this demand, came up, down again to that demand. There are actually two demands here. We have this one, and we have this whole demand that was left after the actual touch of the last one. So price came up to supply, but it didn't touch it, and then came down. So when it was now flowing down, I expected it to react from here. But as much as I told my guys to, watch out for this demand and maybe could be the one to push price to the upside, it dawned on me that maybe we should wait for more confluences like the way we normally wait for, like this one, change of character, return, then continue to the downside. And also here, change of character right there, return, then continue to the downside. So I was expecting also from here, we could have a change of character, the return, blah, 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 and then continue to the downside. But this was NFP, so short it down to break that low, and also to give us maybe possible confluences that we could be going to the downside. So zooming in, we see that price now did have a change of character, but somehow it was giving us some confluences like it wants to continue to the upside. So we had price ranging like that, Okay, we had price ranging, and then it broke this high. Okay, this high, this one broke that high, then came down. This was not that fairly a pullback or an IBOS, internal break of structures, internal break of structure, and then price pulled to the upside, so I had to draw that on, and then came down, which now from this point we can see that price did react to this supply, excuse me, before continuing to the downside. So this is where I want to explain something. I had this trade, I had this structure happening, and I saw it, okay, because this was the Frankfurt, as you can see. And inside this Frankfurt, you can see that after the pullback before the Frankfurt open, price went up with the Frankfurt open. Okay, and then when London came in, or Frankfurt, when Frankfurt was still opening and price was really volatile, you can see price came down and caused a change of character. Remember, this is a 15-minute. So after the change of character, we see the return, and to the supply, and then continue to the downside. Now this was a very perfect trade, but I just didn't take it. Why? Because I feared again that we could be actually coming to this supply before continuing to the downside, because in this supply we didn't actually touch it here. So I was expecting for price to touch it and then continue to the downside, but it only touched this whole buy to sell range, this one here. Okay, the way you see it right there, and then continue. So what I've actually learned this week is I fear a lot and I hesitate on taking trades. So I think I'll have to shake that off. If I'm facing a loss, I'll just be facing a loss. And if it's a profit, then I'll be doing myself a favor to, get my profits up. So we had another low here. I'll explain something, because after this move to the downside, I spotted an opportunity here, but it was actually a liquidity trap for me. So yeah, took me out also. So price came out after this, after taking out the lows, came up again and took out those highs. And then now we started ranging all through New York open and also the overlap. This means that New York had already closed, because this was on Friday. They already closed, and They didn't want to do anything with trading that day. So anyone who's still in this trade, good luck, because I don't know how next week will turn out to be. What I can only say is with this pullback here, maybe it could be reacting to the supply and then come down to this demand and then maybe continue to the upside and, finally mitigating the supply that I was expecting before continuing to the downside. Now, let's move to 5 minutes and explain that trade that I missed. Actually, the one that I chickened out and took the wrong trade instead of the right one. So that happened on 1 minute. Right here. So when price broke to the downside, remember this trade that I was telling you that I would have taken. I should have taken it around here, and price went to the downside. So when it broke my eyeballs right there, I felt now with this change of character right here, like that, price came back to this flip zone, okay, and then came up again. When it came down, now I took my trade around here, and I was actually expecting at least price to come to this supply before continuing to the downside and also induce more sellers, but actually I was the one being induced. So profits, then losses, then again profits. Actually, at this point I started asking myself, what of this change of character that just happened, the bearish one, okay? Because after that change of character, we see price coming back to the supply, though it didn't touch it, but it came back very swiftly and then continued with the down move, okay, like that. So yes, finally I was taken out here, and then price short to the upside to come and also take out these highs. So you see how they're really playing, very deep psychological games. So for me, if you ask me coming in next week, that was just one stupid trade that I took. And coming in next week, I think I'll just be careful enough to know the right moves that I'll be taking. Now, one thing I want to say is, because we know of, or we have seen that price would be or could be selling coming in next week, then this is what I'll be expecting, that after this burst to the downside, we see that price created a lower low, okay, and then now this could be our potential lower high, or maybe lower high could come to there, okay, before maybe continue to the downside. So I'll leave this one on just to see how price will react coming in next week, that is from Monday, and yeah, see what will happen from there. But I'll really be keeping an eye on this supply, and look to see if we can continue selling to the downside. So I think that will be all I'll have for gold on this analysis for this week. One thing I'll say is, last week I was down at 0.5%, but this time I'm back at 1% on FTMO, and I'm expecting to at least continue with with the confidence, and also continue with strict risk management, and not only just that, um, but also checking out my fear, and yeah, taking trades according to my analysis that I normally have, especially when my conferences have aligned. So I don't have much to say, guys. You have a nice weekend. If you took some value from that, then I really appreciate. Maybe you can show some support down below, and yeah, see you on the next one. God bless you, and take care.